Hey there everyone. This video is more meant for fun, however, it will actually give you different party compositions. At least the first 5 are theoretically good. The next 5 are more just for fun, what I think are like fun background, or fun names, or fun lore, whatever. But definitely the first 5 are going to be able to give you actual party compositions that I think are going to work very well. And to be vanilla, I do believe it though. The Usual Suspects #1 here is one of my favorite, not necessarily top 1, however, it's definitely one of my favorite party compositions. The Usual Suspects, as you can see in the trivia here, it refers to these are the first characters you're going to get, often the formation you're going to form, and also possibly the movie if you've ever seen The Usual Suspects. This party is very good in the ruins, and that is also where you go when you first get this party composition. Therefore, it's naturally good in the ruins because the game pushes you towards that. The Plague Doctor has great control. If you have blinding gas and obviously great DOTs, the Highwayman has riposte and obviously good shooting or melee. You have a stun, damage, and a stress heal on your Crusader and also a tank, so that's great. And then obviously you have the Vestal just to heal and stun in between. This party is great at preventing stress and also removing stress via the Crusader, because you have the blinding gas on the Plague Doctor, you have riposte on the Highwayman, which are both great ways to prevent. And then obviously if you do get that stress, you do have the Crusader with Inspiring Cry. A very durable party and can actually pump out a lot of damage, so it's not to be underrated in terms of damage and both the instant and DOT factor. I think it's a very solid party if you choose to use it. Our next favorite here is going to be Mark and Bark. So obviously it says right here the entire party utilizes the Mark mechanic, that is true. And then there's also a dog, which is our favorite part for the Bark. It's a very good party. I've actually used this multiple times for actually one of the darkest dungeons. You can see that video is the 2nd level, and I've also just used it in general. Once again, you have stress prevention on the Man-at-Arms, so you can obviously reduce stress and increase your dodge. You have a reliable heal in the Occultist. Now you may feel funny about the Occultist, but I think he's absolutely needed in Mark and Bark because he has a naturally higher speed than everyone else, and he'll be able to give that first mark off for the Bounty Hunter and also the Hound Master. You can decide just to mark with either the Houndmaster or the Bounty Hunter, but I believe the Occultist will set you up for more immediate damage than a Vestal would. You also obviously have Stress Heal and the Houndmaster in the very back there with Cry Havoc. The Bounty Hunter and the Man-at-Arms also play a wonderful stun combo. With Uppercut and Rampart, you can often control the front row while sending those enemies to the back row, and often bringing up your squishier enemies that sit in 3rd and 4th position. So they're actually pretty darn good in what they do. It's a very durable party as well. There's a lot of HP up in front, and you can always back that up with an Occultist. Overall, I like Mark and Bark, and I've used it many times. The next party I like is Merciless. Once again, we have an Occultist, Plague Doctor, Highwayman, and a Hellion. There's no additional notes there, but the reason why I would assume it's Merciless is because the Hellion and the Highwaymen are very strong what they do. They're very powerful in their melee capabilities and capable of killing people rather quickly, and the Plague Doctor can stun, control, or even boost either damage dealer with more speed and damage. It's a very capable party of hitting the back row and the 3rd position, which is often where most parties struggle. You have Blinding Gas, a pull on the Occultist, Iron Swan where if it bleeds on the Hellion, and then you obviously have the Highwaymen who can hit a variety of positions as well. It's a very versatile party. The only thing I will say, it's not great at stress healing. However, you do have great prevention, and also if you get some speed trinkets and maybe some surprises, you could actually probably kill or negate the abilities to stress damage dealers quickly. Therefore, I think Merciless is actually a party that would survive decently well on stress, maybe not above a medium run, but I think you could easily get away with the medium run and a campfire, because the Highwayman has the ability to get more surprise on chances, on scouts you do and all that stuff, so I think you could surprise enough parties to reduce enough stress, because you could easily and mercilessly kill them. Next, we get to the Crimson Hand. Once again, no other trivia, but we'll get to some trivia and the fun ones. I'm trying to pick out some functional stuff. There's other ones with more trivia and functional, but we'll do this for right now. So the Crimson Hand, once again, I actually used this for, I believe, the final level of the Darkest Dungeon in my recent playthrough. It's very good. Obviously, you have heals on the Vestal, which is very nice. You have pretty good row versatility with the Iron Swan and also the pistol shot of the Highwaymen. And then you have that stress heal mechanic or stun on the Crusaders. So you have 3 stuns, 1 on the Crusader, the double stun on the Hellion, and obviously a stun on the Vestal. So there's a lot of stun capabilities, which is very nice. You have great row versatility and even a little bit of stress heal. So this party is very sustainable, very quick acting, and very quick killing. So I think overall this party is a solid choice for literally any dungeon. The only thing you could maybe argue is high protections can become a little bit of a nightmare, because the only DOT you will have is if it bleeds and bleed out. However, between the stuns and the healing, you can even try to avoid those guys, and there's a lot of ways to lower protection. So even with that slight disadvantage at DOT piercing, you should be able to just eventually raw damage it out. Blood Drive. We got some trivia. All heroes have abilities that can cause enemies to bleed. We have the Hellion, we have Bleed Out and if it bleeds. We have the Houndmaster with Hound's Rush and Hound's Harry, I believe. And then you got the Jester with Slice Off and Harvest. And then you got the Occultist, who may not make the enemy bleed, but he can make you bleed. Which is, you know, Blood Drive didn't say for which side, it's just a Blood Drive. You do have the Jester, obviously natural, increasing damage or stress heals, however you want to orient them, very good. You obviously have a healer in the Occultist. You actually have a pull on the Occultist as well, so you can pull to squish your enemies forward, or you can just simply mark them for your Houndmaster to Hounds Rush down in one turn. You have the Hellion, who, as always, can either be a double stun in the front, since this party is lacking stuns. You'd probably want to keep a Barbaric Yawp on, just to cancel out guards. And then you can always Iron Swan if it bleeds, so she's really good there. Overall, I think it's a great party. It's not the most durable, I will say. If you get some decent hits on a couple of members spread throughout, it might be difficult to catch up if you're not running the Great Luck with your Occultist. Now, the natural speed increases with Battle Ballad, and hopefully with some of the control coming from Barbaric Yawp and one-shots from a Hound's Rush Mark combo. Hopefully it will save you from some of that damage. You never know, sometimes you get critted down. Those were 5 of my favorite functional parties with a name. There's many more parties with many more names, and there are a lot in there. So that's why, please let me know which ones you like, because there's just so many that I could probably pick 20 that I love, but I picked those 5 that I have often used, or at least used once and had great success with. Now we're going to get to the ones that are a little more fun. My first fun one, and it's actually somewhat practical, is the Medieval Spirits. Here we have the Plague Doctor, the Jester, the Leper, and the Crusader, common figures from the medieval era. It's just a fun time. You got sacks of HP in the front, heavily armored guys, backed up by some more fun-dressed individuals in the back there. I think it's just a fun party. It could actually honestly be pretty good. You have DOT for higher protection, you have the stun control for the back row, and the ability to increase speed, accuracy, and crit, which the Crusader and Leper both personally love. Therefore, I don't think this party is necessarily bad. You're just missing a strong healer, so you could maybe take them on a short dungeon and rely on an Inspiring Cry or some medicine from the Plague Doctor. Just because if you get to Death's Door, you are going to need something just to take the edge off, but I think for a short dungeon, these guys could actually work out pretty darn well. We Die Like Heroes. I just like the name of it. It sounded fun. And you got some fun classes in here with the Man-at-Arms, the Highwayman, the Bounty Hunter, and the Jester, so just the combination seemed really fun to me. Obviously, the no heals on anybody just allows you to go balls to the walls there, only using food or other curios you can find in there. So, would I recommend this above a short dungeon? Probably not. I mean, if you had a good campfire and good control, you could. However, I think it would be a little difficult, but I do like the name. We Die Like Heroes. Then, we get to the Ugly Kid. I have a couple of Jesters in here, but I think Jesters add fun names, and they're just some of the ones I really liked in. If it shows up on the screen once I edit this, there's also the Fool's Rush In, which is just 4 Jesters, which is pretty funny. But the Ugly Kid, there's an Abomination in there, so let's read it. Jesters have the camping skill Mockery, while the Abomination is known for being hideous and disgusting. So it's pretty much 3 bullies just making fun of the Abomination. I did do this on a Twitch stream once, and sadly I think I deleted that since. It was like 20 gigabytes, I got rid of it, but let's just say that party composition, it's a fun name. Practicality, I think I almost lost a Jester or 2, because once again, this party should all, well, actually there is a heal on the Abomination, but it's very close to We Die Like Heroes, so practical, not at all. Fun, absolutely. The next composition I like here is Good, Bad, and Ugly. So also we have the good, the Vestal, the bad. You could argue the Highwayman / Crusader, then obviously you got the Leper, who is just ugly. Has to wear a mask to hide that hideous leper face of his. It's a reference to the movie The Good, Bad, and the Ugly. I think it's a fun name, and this party is actually doable. You have, once again, sacks of HP in the front, you have great damage in the Highwayman in the back, and a Vestal. So not only could this be maybe our first duel, could actually be pretty good, and also just a fun name to have. And finally, what I like is the Master of the Hounds. Here we have a Houndmaster with 3 abominations. Obviously, the abominations can turn into hound-like creatures, I guess the game is calling it. So you got 4 dogs and 1 master. So he's the master of the hounds. It's fun. Would this be practical? I mean, technically, I guess everyone here can heal themselves. So I guess it's actually not the end of the world. When abominations transform, they'll gain some HP and all that. You'll just need a lot of stress reduction trinkets or only take them on short dungeons. You could obviously cry havoc most of the time. And 3 abominations would probably rip through non-protection based enemies in a very quick hurry. However, I think eventually the stress would build up just enough, but I think it's a fun name. Let me know what some of your favorite party names are and also your favorite functional parties. I believe there is a difference because some of these are just absolutely fun names, but they may not exactly work out on how the Darkest Dungeon works, which is sad because you like make the party, then you're like, oh, let's take it, oh. Then you look at it, kind of like the ugly kid, you're like, oh, that's really funny, but I don't know if I'm going to get past 2 to 3 fights depending on my RNG. Thank you for watching. If you like this video, stick around. There's more videos like this. There's more serious ones, less serious ones, group, community ones, whatever you kind of like. Always leave a comment down below on how you're feeling, and thank you for watching.